Haven't you ever heard of a killer? I drop bombs like Hiroshima.
Somebody said, look at LeakYou video. What the fuck is LeakYou? Is it like a site? What's LeakYou? LeakYou. Is it a YouTube channel? Oh, shit. Oh, all right, bet. Here we go.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
One, two, three, four.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, people. Happy Tuesday. I hope y'all are having a fantastic week. I have something very special for you all tonight. But listen, before we get into this amazing clip, as you can see, this is a screen reel or screenshot from the clip of what appears to be 12-foot alien beings. Looks like they have wings of some type that was caught on video in the Alps. I want to show you all something very, very interesting. Now, I've told you guys for many, many years that the United States government knows all about UFOs. They know about them. They are in possession of UFO craft, UAP craft, as they call it. It's interesting how they changed that, right, to unidentified aerial phenomena, whatever, right? But they in possession of them. David Grush again was on the Hill. He talked about how the United States has been trying to reverse engineer some of these craft. I've even heard at one point that some craft, or one or two craft, were left almost as like a gift to the United States for them to do whatever with, right? But imagine that. Not only are there craft that have crashed that the United States is in possession of, there were bodies in those craft. The United States has been in possession of the bodies of, I'm going to call them alien beings, for decades, maybe even longer, maybe even going back to the 1800s, folks. Entirely different century, entirely different decade, right? Entirely different, 1800s, all right? Going back that far. I've heard some really crazy stuff, right? But imagine our United States military doing joint operations with craft, with UFO craft. Imagine that for a second. We have weapons. The United States has weapons that can take these craft down. Energy-based weapons, okay? Energy-based weapons. Now, we're going to go ahead and get started here, but I do want to give a lovely shout out to the chat. I want to give a shout out to Third Eye. Shout out to Heaven Sent in the building, aka Cash Money Home. And I also want to give a shout out to those of you on Twitter. I see y'all are piling in. Those of you on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitch. If you haven't had an opportunity, please check out my official podcast platform at anchor.fm/LeakYou. You can find me on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, and Google Podcasts. There are episodes of various, topics that I've talked about over there that aren't here on YouTube or any other platform that I will do these live streams on each night. Shout out to Christy in the building. Much love to Christy in the building. It's really good to see you in a live stream. Christy's been supporting me for quite a while now, but a lot of you have been supporting me for quite a while now because you absolutely love this type of content. And as Christy will always tell me in the comment section, I shine when I do this type of content, and I do appreciate it. Love it when you all, do your best to try to keep me grounded, but don't underestimate. I will come for a bitch's throat in a heartbeat if I have to. Excuse my French. Now, I want to show you guys something very interesting really quickly. We're going to go ahead and pull the banner. Let's go ahead and pull the banner down, folks. And let's take a look at what appears to be a joint operation, some sort of a joint maneuver operation with a craft that it is claimed was reverse engineered with the Marines in the Arizona desert. Okay? Let's take a look at this.
See the tank, right? And then southeast little face off the shiny out there. Yeah, just make sure they offset from the shiny out. Not a lot of yeah, they got 9-0. Talk on east 1400. Egress right poles. Current's right there. Crab CSU 23 Tech 4. Have an enemy mechanized company in the vicinity of the airfield, the southern portion of the airfield with offensive reinforcements. Hey, Trace, can you just put it back?
Look how small that helicopter looks like in comparison to that UFO. That is incredible. You can actually see two things floating, or hovering, I should say, underneath that craft. Kind of reminds me of the story of Michael Herrera, who's been making the rounds recently. And he talked about an experience he had. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. And the guy looks right at it. Like, there's no, this isn't faked, folks. This isn't CGI. I look for all of those sorts of things. Third eye, I know, I do. I know.
Talk on east.
Shout out to the graphics. I love them.
Egress right poles. Current's right there. Crab CSU 23 Tech 4. Have an enemy mechanized company in the vicinity of the airfield, the southern portion of the airfield with offensive reinforcements.
You too, Christy. Thank you. Pretty incredible, right? And look, it looks right at it. And they act as if this is normal, folks, all right? Because to them, it probably is. Again, that was a situation where they had reverse engineered this craft, all right? They had reverse engineered the craft. And, again, I hope you don't believe the report that came out by Arrow, the Pentagon's office, Arrow. It was packed full of lies, liesss, all right, triple lies, a bunch of nonsense, people. Our government, the United States government, continues to lie to us. And I've even been hearing rumors that the potential of another government, another nation coming clean about the UFO / alien / interdimensional being situation, they may get to it before the United States does. And I hope that they do. If anybody has any information that they would like to share, including a story, and nothing is too crazy, you can reach me at tips@LeakYou.com. Now, Internet Granny, let's jump into what we're here for. Ethereal entities with wings and a height of 12 feet caught on camera in the Alps. All right. And we're going to watch the whole clip. We're going to watch the entire clip. It is amazing. Again, these beings were 12 foot in height. Okay. 12 feet. Very amazing. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to drop the overlay there, and let's go ahead and get right on into it, shall we? Let's go. Let's go. Now, if you look closely, those things are moving their arms. Can you see? Oh my. Oh. It's like it has either wings or they're wearing a robe of some type. They're moving. They're very clearly some form of entity. I would be freaked out, okay? Let's go. Let's watch the full video. Let's go.
Ljudi, misterija, istina. Evo, ja sam došao, znači, na jedno brdo. Sad ću da budem sa vama.
We don't even care that we don't understand what he's saying, believe me.
Što nije normalno odjedanput i čujemo misteriozne zvukove. Znači, oni se dalje čuju. Ja sam došao na to mesto. Znači,
plus, I'm worldwide. People over in the Balkans probably see my stuff from time to time anyway.
Znači, duboko sam došao. Ovde, sad ću da vam pokažem do kraja. Idemo.
That part, third eye. I haven't seen it yet, but I'll check it out for sure.
Opet je krenulo, ljudi. Znači, ja sam tu sa lampom u crni mrak. Znači, uopšte ne znam šta se dešava. Ovdje sam na jedno brdo i već su, znači, u Francusku zatvaraju celo. Znači, kao zadnji put što je bilo. Ne znam da li čujete zvuk. Ako čujete, pišite u komentare. Znači, ja sam došao blizu Alpa na jedno brdo. Veoma čudno. Znači, zvukovi su počeli još od 8 sati. Oni nisu stali, nisu obično. Nije običajno kao i pre, ali hoću da vam kažem da znači već je počelo u Srbiji, svud gledam po celom svetu, kao i prošli put kad se čuli ti misteriozni zvukovi, sve su znači zatvorili i sada opet počinje u sredu to što sasvim nije normalno, a zvuk ne staje. Evo tamo vidite, imate ono crveno, vidite tamo je kao, ne znam ni ja šta. Sad ću da idem duboko Znači, veoma, znači, čudno. I nalazim se, vidite, duboko u šumi. Inače sam na onom, znači, brdu, znate gde se isto čulo, to sad sam pokušao da dođe blizu. Znači, što više slobodno delite ovaj video, jer duboko sam ušao u šumi. Znači, već sat vremena sam tu, uopšte nisam ni imao internet. Čujete, ljudi, kako se to čuje na Alpima. Znači, nema ništa, kiša počela da pada, kao što vidite.
I'm listening in the background. I'm trying to understand if that's like a helicopter or if that's just wind that I'm hearing in the background. Maybe it's just the wind.
Znači, veoma jezivo. Veoma jezivo, ljudi.
He obviously looks freaked out. We know that much about body communication.
Ništa se ne vidi. Sam. Znači, veoma jezivo. Znači, došao sam do jednog brda, što više delite ovaj video. A znači, samo tamo vidim jedan crveni repetitor. Pogledajte tamo, vidite. Ima tamo ta dva
And of course, if I have any translators, feel free to translate, throw it in the comments.
Taj zvuk ili ne. Ali pogledajte, ljudi, kako se to čuje. Znači, opet vam kažem. Ljudi. Znači, svaki put kada skrene granica, znači da se zatvara, vidite kako se čuje prema Alpima taj zvuk. Ja sam naravno duboko ušao i ovdje sam došao, znači do jednog...
It does, doesn't it, Third Eye? It sounds very odd. He feels something, right? He looks freaked out. Again, this is the whole clip, so... Again, this happened in the Alps.
Ovdje kao neko brdo. Ne znam šta je ovo, čovječe. Se penjem na ovo brdo ovdje.
Think beautiful Switzerland. I've not either, Christy. Not like that. And they almost look translucent as well.
Vidite, tamo imamo neku zgradu.
That's because they cloak themselves.
Ovdje imamo neki, ne znam ni ja sam šta je. Ovdje imamo neki stup, vidite. Neki stup, a vidite ovdje se nalazimo kao neki...
Maybe the sound is what got his attention, guys. It could have been sound that got his attention, too.
Kao neki bunker.
Oh, I see him. I see him starting to peek out. You see that? He sees it too. Oh, he sees him. And they never come alone, do they? Now I see a second one starting to show. He's backing up a little, huh? Yep. They're never alone, people. It's at least 2 or 3 of them at a time, okay? The closer he gets, the more they're appearing, the more that they're showing themselves.
Ljudi, učinili mu se, ne znam da li je moguće, ne znam da
Now he's running.
Ili mislim možda što sam sam
He's
ovdje,
scared.
kao da mi se učinilo Ne znam da ste vidjeli, molim vas zavratite. Molim vas zavratite kao da je imalo nešto gore. Uopšte ne mogu da shvatim da li je senka od nečega, jer ovde oko mene, pogledajte. Pogledajte ljudi, samo je mrak i učinilo mi se, pogledajte. Nema nigde ništa. Vidite. Tamo se vidi znači grad, vidimo gore ta svetla. Ne znam da li je neko vidio nešto od vas. Ako ste vidjeli da se uopšte ne vraćam tamo. Kao da je bilo neko drvo. Pogledajte, molim vas. Sad osjećam hladnoću ovde. Stao sam ovde. Imam osjećaj. Ma sam sam, s kim ću da budem. Imam osjećaj da sam nešto vidio i povukao sam se brzo. Učinilo mi se da je senka. Ne znam da li ste bolje vidjeli, ja sad ne mogu. Molim vas, ako možete zavratite, neka neko zavrati video, neka izbaci šta se vidjelo to. Možda je bila i senka zato što sam u mrak i se java sve. Sad ne znam da li da se vratim opet tamo da vidim. Kao da je nešto stojalo. Pogledajte ljudi, evo neko piše da ima nešto gore. Došao sam do novog stuba, tamo bilo je gvožđe, ja sam vidio gvožđe. Sad ne znam da smijem da se vratim opet. Vidite da neko vidio kod da nešto. Vidite ovde gde me čeka, tu mora da prođem sve kroz tu njivu. Ne znam da li da se vratim opet. Jeste sigurni? Vraćam se opet pa šta bude. Kao da nešto ima gore. Vratit ću se opet. Neko piše da su bila ko neka strašila. Nisam vidio da je mrdnulo ništa. Ništa se ne vidi.
Did they leave? Nope, they're still there. Both of them. You see them? Oof. They're still there. That's twisty. Wow. He's just in amazement. I'd want to talk to him too. I'd be like, hello, how are you doing? Where are you from? You know, can I have a conversation? I don't know what I would do, honestly, and I think many of us don't know what we would do, okay?
Nešto stoji, ne mogu da priđem tamo.
But they're there. The question is, what are they?
Da se povučem.
He's like, I'm not going no closer.
Čekaj, budi si tu.
Would you talk to it, Heaven Sent?
Čekaj, ovde je strmo, moram da stavim telefon.
Third eye. Hey, Dr. Bombay, how are you? He said, talk to them? Not me. Oh. And
Ništa nije mrzalo, ljudi.
he's like, what should I do? What should I
Ima
do?
oko stuba nešto stoji. Ne znam ni ja sam šta. Pogledajte ovaj video.
Videos like this, like the language barrier means nothing, you know? Means absolutely nothing.
Veoma strašno jezivo zvuk, ne znam da li čujete. Ovo prvi put se dešava, znači opet vam kažem, podelite. Eto neko video kod stuba, ja sad nešto sam ko video, ali kao da je drvo neko.
You probably are only seeing the one on the left, but yeah, there's definitely two of them. There's probably more than two.
Pade mi lampa.
They
U
cloak
mraku mi pade, ne mogu
themselves.
da je nađem. Gde je lampa? Evo, čekaj.
That part, right?
Ništa, ljudi, delite ovaj video.
Yeah, that part.
Delite što više ovaj video, ko zna kako će se
Right,
ovo večer.
right.
Jer ovde, znači, sve su, od sutra sve zatvaraju.
You ought to quit, Third Eye.
Slobodno delite, idem još jedan put da vidim. Ne mogu da prilazim brzo i poslije ću polako da se povučem jer veoma jezivo. Znači, mene stvarno nije strah, sami znate, ali velika jeza.
And I mean, he's got a nice bright light there, and a stick. But that is not going to do anything against those things, you know? There's no telling what sorts of powers they have.
Evo idem prema stubu ovamo. Pa ću poslije da napravim krug. Evo, pored ovog stuba nema ništa. Ima neki natpisi, ni ja sam ne znam šta je to.
Yeah, exactly, Dr. Bombay. Brave and scared at the same time. Yep. You can see them. You see them? They're on each side of the pole there. Oh. Oh, there you can see them. Look, they're moving their arms. You can actually, or maybe that's a wing. Oh, you can see him now, baby. Oh, my. And he's so bold. He's so brave. Wait, guys, let me just kind of zoom in here. I want to zoom in. Ooh, let's just kind of zoom in here. Oh, yeah, those are humanoids. And whether they have wings or whether that's like a robe, their arms are clearly moving. As you can see. And they have a translucency about them. That's because they have technology. Oh, that's so freaky. That cloaks them. Look, he's like, heck no, I'm getting the heck out of here. He's like, no, no, sir. Nope. Wow, how freaky.
Ljudi, pao mi je telefon dole. Pao mi je telefon dole. Isključi mi se ton. Ne znam da me čujete. Stade mi mreža i sve. Ugasi mi se. Ne znam da me čujete. Pišite mi ako me čujete, pao mi je telefon dole. Ne me čujete, ljudi, pao mi je telefon. Kao da mi se ugasi ton. Pao mi je telefon dole. Gledajte, ljudi. Nigdje niko. Zvuk se čuje. Pao mi je telefon. Stao mi je zvuk bio. Ne znam da me čujete sad. Nije ni bitno. 2 put mi pada telefon. Evo, pogledajte, ljudi, tamo. To je to brdo. Pogledajte. Dobro, sad se čuje. Malo pre kao da se nije čulo, ima mikrofon ovde i kao kad je pao blokirano. Ništa, vidite da je polako. Evo, pogledajte. Nigde niko, ljudi. Sad ću polako da se vratim. Ljudi, ono je bilo, ja mislim ko neko strašilo nešto možda stavili da plaše ptice, ali mi se učini kao da je mrdnulo. To nije bilo do sad, da li možda mrdnulo od vetra, pošto onako vidite da pada kiša ovde, ne znam da vidite. Ne znam šta je, pišite u komentare, uveličite taj video. Ja ću polako da se povučem, ljudi. Gubim i bateriju se, znači delite što više ovaj video. Ima vas mnogo, nikako do sad. I uvijek da znate, možda će i da mi obriše ovaj video, jer veoma čudno, kao zadnji put. Moram da stanem, ljudi. Ko gleda, moj brat Denić, da si, brate moj, sad ovde sam, pogledaj tvoj brat Denić. Veoma jezivo, ljudi, samo bez straha, uvijek sam rekao, verujte sebi. Znači, nema tu straha, ništa ne može, Božja energija je najjača. Dokazao sam vam još jedan put, vidite da je veoma jezivo. Ne znam da li je mrdnulo, ja nisam ništa. Kao neko kaže devojka i muškarac, uopšte ne znam ko je, ljudi, pričat ćete mi posle, slikajte to samo da se iščupam odavde, mada Bog je u meni, sami znate, i da će sigurno da bude sve dobro. Znači, vidjet ćete da će sutra, ne znam koliko će da traje, ali Macron već je najavio, to već nije u redu.
It really does sound like a helicopter,
Znači, ja vam
doesn't it?
kažem da Boži ljudi šalju veliku energiju,
That part. Right.
ali
He's brave,
nešto
yet
drugo
he's
se radi.
frightened at the
Znači,
same
piše
time.
21. decembar
Exactly.
i sami znate da ovde nema ni slova
I
kao od
seen it
korone.
too. Yep.
Ma neću da bežim, mora da polako budem oprezan, jer veoma čudni zvuci, vi ih ne čujete, možda čujete ovaj zvuk što bruji, ali verujte mi, da mnogo drugačije, mnogo je jezivo uživo. Znači, veoma jezivo, ljudi. I vidjet ćete da svaki put kad počne ovo opet, da se čuje taj zvuk, sami znate. Neko piše se, Mirci, ništa nisam vidio, ljudi, pogledajte, molim vas. Ništa ja nisam vidio, možda ste bolje vidjeli od mene, pogledajte. To je znači mrkli mrak, imam tu lampu, ja uopšte to nisam vidio. Uopšte, ljudi. Uopšte.
Every time his phone goes off, my heart
Ljudi mi već
jumps.
šalju slike. Znači nešto su vidjeli što nisu trebali da vidi. Znači polako se vraćam, ništa ne brinite. Misterija je to.
Yeah.
I nema tu straha. Znači nema da vas je strah. Ja sam vam obećao. Evo već ljudi me zovu, Medlin me zove, svi me zovu. Znači nemoj sad da me zovete ljudi, molim vas. Čuje mi se telefon, zvoni ovde, nisam smanjio. Ko zna šta se ovde dešava sve. Znači ugasite, nemoj da me zove niko sad. Insistiraju ljudi. Ne znam ni sam gde sam ovde. Neka budu da su ono strašila. Znači, učinilo mi se kao da je
Rami.
nešto mrdnulo.
Good to see you,
Pratite
babe.
video, ali vam opet kažem, vidite čim vas, ako su naredili, ne znam, ne mogu da platim sve televizije. U Francusku znam da sutra hoće sve da zatvore, znači nešto se dešava, opet kao prošli put taj misteriozni zvuk. Podelite što više ovaj video. Ljudi, gledajte gde sam ovo sad došao, čovječe. Pogledajte ovo, kako je jezivo, ko Božije drvo, ljudi, pogledajte. Od jedan put se stvori ovde. Pogledajte, ljudi. Uopšte ne znam više gde sam. Gasi Merlin, ovaj Merlin insistira. Pogledajte, ljudi, kao Božije drvo.
Phone's going crazy,
Gledajte
isn't it,
to.
all of a sudden?
Gledajte.
It keeps going, ooh.
Ljudi, samo ovo drvo, nigde ništa drugo. Pogledajte. Na njemu ima pečurke, pogledajte. Gledaj. Šta je ovo, čovječe? Gledaj, životići. Evo, ljudi. Znači, ljudi, kao da se stvorio jedan put ispred mene Božje drvo. Nigde ništa. Ljudi, ovde sam ispod Božje drvo. Nemoj da se smijete, molim vas. Znači, ugasit ću sad ovaj live da vas ostavim, znači nemoj da brinete, nema mnogo baterije. Evo misterija ovde kod Božje drvo, pogledajte, znači to je tako je. Znači sve se ovde čudno odigrava. Gledajte. Ništa ljudi, pozdrav od vas od Misterije istine, delite što više ovaj video, možda će da ga obrišu, molim vas, ima vas 613, delite što više, šta znači Božje drvo, znači u Bibliji Božje drvo, znate šta je Božje drvo, tako se stvorilo i na njemu pečurke, pogledajte, veoma čudno, gledaj.
I believe he's
Cijelo
showing
drvo
us
ispod pečuraka,
mushrooms. You see the mushrooms that are growing? I think there's a little meaning to that, but I think that's what he's trying
Evo
to
i moj
show us
brat
there.
koji je
I'll talk
veliki
about it
radnik,
in a
kaže,
minute.
beži, brate, rizikuje. Slušajte ljudi, nemoj da se sekirate za misteriju. Znate da misterija je Boži čovjek. Bez obzira što je sam ovde, ne brinite, znači, slobodno delite ovo. Ne vodim nikad nikoga zbog rizika, eto, ko me pita Nenad, nikad ne vodim nikoga, ne treba mi niko, jer verujem samo sebi, Bog je sa nama. A misterija će da nastavi, znači, put. Evo ga, vidite. Znači, duga šuma me čeka, idemo polako. Idemo, znači, polako. Sad smo došli do kraja i ništa ne brinite, ljudi. Biće sve pozitivno. Ništa, ljudi, veliki pozdrav sve vas, ja ću sad ugasim ovaj video. Znači, ovdje sam došao, daljio sam se dosta, možda, znači, jedno 100, 200 metra i 300. Znači, ništa ne brinite. Auto mi je možda na 2-3 kilometra. Otići ja polako, znači, nema potrebe da vam zauzimam veče. Znači, slobodno delite video. Alpi, neko piše gde je to Alpi, znači, Alpi su to. Znači, vidjeli ste to što smo vidjeli, zavratite, znači, neko će da zavrati, će da snima. I ništa ne brinite, uopšte nije ni bitno. Misterija, znate da je to Božja energija. I uvek sam rekao, verujte samo sebi, znači od samog starta sam rekao da ne verujete u koronu. I, znači, vidjet ćete, znači, ovo što rade, znači, neće biti zatvaranja, verujte mi, možda će da uvedu vanredno stanje do 10 sati uveče, jer ove stvari se dešavaju od 10 do 12, to je veoma čudno. To da znate, jer sam vidio da Francuzi kao treba da uvedu vanredno stanje, ali tek oko 10 sati. Čujte taj zvuk misteriozno, on me navukao. Znači, ljudi, znači, tek u 10 sati oni najavljuju to. To je verovatno zbog ovih zvukova, vidjet ćemo vremenom šta je to, da li su to stvarno vanzemaljci, da li je to, znači, uopšte ne mogu ni ja sam. Znači, vidite da situacija se veoma menja, bez obzira što Bože ljudi se mole. Nadamo da Bog je sa nama i ništa ne brinite. Ljudi, nastavljam, čekam me put. Mnogo mi pišu ljudi. Vidite, tamo je grad, tamo da idem, koliko je to daleko, pogledajte tamo. Tek tamo treba da idem jedno 3-4 kilometra.
Almost looks like there's like a fire.
Neka ih botovi, Veki. Neka ih botovi, pusti botovi. Botovi su, botovi. Vidjet će botovi kada budu sprženi, šta će da se desi. Pozdrav, ljudi. Pozdrav.
All right, now hold on a second, because I want to go back to the third time that he walked up to this bean. All right, let's go back here, and I'm gonna zoom in. At first, it only looks like there's one standing to the left, but there's actually two of them. Let's do this again, and it kind of starts to cut. Look, you can see. I don't know if y'all seen that, but it's not even just one hand that has something in it. Both hands have something in it. Look at this. On the right, you see there's something glowing in both hands. He kind of walks around it a little bit. But yeah, look at that. You can see right here and right here. Now, I don't know if they were like, oh, well, if he rushes us, we're going to have to do harm to him or what. But what could this be? Is this the very definition of what an interdimensional being is? And boom, there's an even better shot. You can see that there's something in both hands, or whatever it is that you would call hands, right? They do look like they have wings, or it's like some sort of a robe that drapes at the arm area, exactly the same on both of them. Isn't it incredible how a lot of times these aliens, these extraterrestrials, these humanoids almost look like cookie cutter versions of each other? Some have mastered genetics. Some have mastered cloning. He's like, oh, no. Gets a little closer. Oh, yeah. It's moving. Both of them are. And that's really, really, really freaky, guys. That's so freaky. Let's go back here a little bit. Let's show you let's just take one more last look here. Zoomed in, of course. Oh yeah, both of them have something in their hands. You can see on even the one on the left. Isn't it crazy how they kind of go in and out like a TV screen almost? But look, watch, the beams are moving. They're clearly moving. Look at that. One even reaches its hand out, and you can see it right here in front of this pole. What is that? Man, guys, we run into some strange things out here. And you know, the mushroom thing, right? There's a saying about mushrooms being in a circle. And if you ever run across mushrooms in a circle, never step inside of that circle. It comes down to gnomes and fairies and that sort of a thing. But where this man was standing, yes, this was in the Alps, where this man was standing, you could clearly see a town downhill from where they were. And it's definitely not surprising to me that you would see these beings standing up high on a hill, looking down on the city, looking down on a town. We've seen it happen in Brazil. We've seen it happen in several places in South America. Just recently this year, there was a viral video showing what appeared to be 10-foot tall entities of some type with super duper long arms, standing up on a hill. They were not human. They looked there was nothing human about them at all. And it almost looks like the one, here on the right's holding its arms as if it's, its arms are up in the air, almost like it's praying or something of that effect. But a lot of, like I said, these beings have the ability to cloak themselves, to essentially make themselves absolutely invisible to the human eye. There are, and again, you have to pay attention to the words that are being used here. Interdimensional. Interdimensional. That's the key word. These beings have the ability to come in and out of our dimension from their dimension, whether that is the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, whatever dimension that it is. They have the ability to come in and out of our dimension. And some have even likened it to the way that you throw a shadow on a sidewalk. Man, long time no see, Preach. How you doing? It's so good to see you. I hope you're well. I hope you are well. Good to see you, Preach. But it's almost like casting a shadow, right? We are in the 3D. The shadow would be considered a 2D surface, right? It is 2D. And imagine the vivid colors you may see in another dimension that haven't even been thought of. We think we know all the colors, right? The color wheel, right? Yellow and blue makes green, and green and whatever makes purple, and all of these things. And there are colors and things, chaotic things that go on in other dimensions, other places, guys. We are not alone. There's nothing about humans being alone that you should ever believe, especially from our government. They lie to us. They continue to lie to us. And what really angers me is that there could very well be a threat that we should be aware of. But for some reason, the Pentagon, the United States military, our government officials that are paid with our tax dollars, going back, I could go all the way back to the Majestic 12. They were paid by U.S. tax dollars. The UFO secret, the alien topic is the number one secret that is held in our government. Like I said, there's quite a few levels of top secrecy above top secret, different levels, the need to know. Okay. But if there is a danger to me, if there is beings and entities out there that want to harvest my soul or harvest the soul of my children, whether or not I can do something about that does not matter. I have a right to know. And for the Pentagon's Aero Office to release such a flubbed report with packed full of lies, especially after we've had hearings in Congress on this very topic. See, they're knowingly lying to us. It's treasonous. They are knowingly lying to us. They don't care about whether our lives are in danger or not. And then another thing that really bothers me is these secretive meetings with the rich, right? It's crazy because the rich can afford $100,000 a pop to get someone to come in and speak to them about whatever it is they witnessed or seen, right? And then they keep that secret within themselves. You think they're not telling us anything? They tell us nothing. That's how we found out about that meeting that David Grush had up in New York with a bunch of rich bigwigs who all sat there. This is where we heard about the 30-foot long TARDIS. Remember? If you know about Doctor Who, a TARDIS, it looks small from the outside, but you step inside and it's massive. And this one, which is in the possession of our United States government, is as big as a football field. But it only looks like it's 30 feet in length on the outside. It was so confusing to some of the people that was trying to go in and out of it that they were getting physically sick from it. Because it was just so incredible. So incredible. These are, as our government refers to, right, interdimensional. Listen, I totally believe that there are beings from other planets, humanoid beings from other planets, alien beings from other planets. But guys, I've always said, we need to be concerned with what's directly under our feet, in our skies, here on Earth, and things that we just can't see with our human eye. There are many things that are the naked eye in our spectrum is just as not visible. Just as not visible. So anyway, I wanted to bring this to you guys. Just very interesting to say the least, right? And I think before we go before we step out on this one, I want to go back to this incredible joint operation between Marines in the Arizona desert. Okay. Having fun with the reverse engineered craft, or it could be a craft that was created by Boeing or Lockheed Martin or whatever, right? If you have not had an opportunity, go check out the story of Michael Herrera, Herrara. He's a Marine. I believe he's a Marine. And he talked about his experience in South America, walking up, doing an operation. He went a few clicks out to perform said operation. You know what he runs into? I don't think they all come in peace, Dr. Bombay. Absolutely not. There are some that are benevolent, but there are some that are malevolent. They are evil. It could be Satan creating his own army for all we know. If they're really trying to harvest souls, as it's been rumored, right? That's the one thing cloning beings can't give you is a soul. Okay. But Michael Harara, him and five, I believe it was five other military guys were on an operate. They were on an op. And they get to their destination. And what do they see? They see a UFO hovering in the sky, the size of a football field in length. And there's a platform that's coming down from this UFO and going back up to this UFO. And there were trucks down on the ground right underneath it. And they were loading big box. Hey, Miss Playful. Good to see you, boo. Good to see you, Miss Playful. Shout out to the one and only artist, Miss Playful. She's did some beautiful artwork for me. They're loading these huge, huge boxes into this UFO craft. As they're walking towards this craft to get closer, all of a sudden they get accosted by other military guys. And from the sound of it, some of them were American. They talked, he was trying to pick up all sorts of things, but the one thing he definitely picked up is they were good. They were just as good, if not better, than his team was. And they had all the artillery you could think of. And they were highly skilled and they were highly trained. Highly trained. Oh, much love, Miss Playful. I love you too, babe. It's so good to see you. It's so, so good to see you. They were highly skilled, highly trained. And they proceeded to take their guns from them, their phones. Well, not all their phones, because he said he did have a couple of pictures and video, but his phone later disappeared, right? Needless to say, he sat there and watched them load equipment into this UFO. Human beings, not aliens, all right? Not humanoids. Human beings like you or I, they were loading equipment into this UFO. It's suspected that they were doing human trafficking. It is suspected that there was actual human beings in these boxes. And it almost looks like the top type of boxes like that you would move like zoo animals in, right? That sort of a thing. But the platform had no strings, no cables, nothing connecting it. Absolutely nothing connecting it. And it was yet bringing these, the equipment in and out of this UFO craft. He was mesmerized by this when he seen it, blown away, his whole team. You should definitely check out like Cosmic Disclosure. He did an interview on Cosmic Disclosure about it. And really quick, I want to show you, and the one that I really loved. Actually, you know what? Hold that thought. Hold that thought, people. You hold that thought. I'm actually about to bring it up right now. Hold on. Hold on. And I only do this because Sean Ryan says it's absolutely okay to do it. Shout out to Sean Ryan, the Sean Ryan Show. Okay. He says it's absolutely okay to check out he wants you to share his content. All right. So I actually want to take the opportunity to show you this. I'm going to drop a link to Sean Ryan's video. It's not like how many people have seen this? 3.1 million of you haven't seen this. Okay. But let's go ahead and end the show on a very interesting note, shall we? Let me show you this. And this is very amazing. I don't even need to explain it. I'm going to let Michael Herrera explained it in his own
Going back
words.
to the event, we decided to get in the tactical column and approach this, right? And we got...
And let me go back just a little.
It will be the best
Let me go back a little.
arms practice
Hold on.
in the...
I love
called
Sean Ryan's
Moink.
show.
What I
Love it.
really...
comes from this.
Yeah.
It's multiple different facets.
I mean, you guys already, all 5 of you, right? Already testified in front of Congress.
So we testified to people of the Senate Intelligence Committee, which where there's some Congress people there as well as some senators.
So in front of the Intelligence Committee.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
and-
right.
and
This
you know-
happened in
yeah.
Indonesia.
And you know as well as I do, in any kind of set.
Biotics.
All right, let's go past the commercial. This happened in Indonesia. Sorry, I got that. But anyway, let's listen.
Going back to the event, we decided to get in the tactical column and approach this, right? And we got down the slope, and it's just like a clearing and just has this big opening. It's almost a little bit more than the football field because this craft took up majority of that.
So let's just back up for a
Yeah.
minute. Let's describe the setting, because at first you said there were helos doing racetracks
Yes.
around. Is this the same opening that you described earlier that you were watching helos drop
No.
supplies in? Okay.
So where this was happening was southwest, at least where the helo insertion points were with the LZs that they were setting up, and they were flying very low in consideration, right? So, and the reason why I know this is because I asked the pilots after this, because I was in the officers' mess and I knew their call signs, and I approached them and I asked them very respectfully if they noticed anything strange. None of them said anything.
Okay.
So I was trying to see if they could get a view of a topside, because this is just something that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So also their call signs all stuck out too, you know, because pilots like to do crazy stuff with their call signs, so it was very easy to track them down. But having this happen on the north part of the slope and it goes down, and obviously, you know, the way it was transitioning colors, which was kind of the way that it appealed, because it was transitioning for a light matte black, or no, sorry, a light matte gray to a dark matte black, and just kind of ranging in between, right?
Let's rewind a little bit before we get into the description.
Okay.
How far? So, what was the activity with all the other helicopters? Were they active at the time that you saw the
Honestly,
UAP?
when we started going down there, no.
Okay.
And I don't know, because obviously we're occupied with this.
How far do you think it was?
So from the LZ where we were at was 300 meters roughly. Okay. Plus the slope that was concealing plus vegetation. Down the slope, it was like 400 meters, maybe. So we got close. We trucked down quite a bit.
Okay.
About 150 meters outside, 150, 200, right? Halfway. And
So
the reason,
maybe about a click away.
possibly. Yeah.
At the
The
farthest.
craft itself might've been a click up.
Okay.
Yeah. And as like I said, the reason why I know how big this thing was, because
Did you see it as you crested the
yes,
hill?
yes, I did. And that's where I took videos and pictures of this thing. That's how I was able to see it, because, you know, taking pictures of the chaos going behind and everything, you see in the rubble, burning buildings, flooding and all that kind of stuff. And then you turn around and I'm like,
So you crest this hill.
yep,
You look down into the valley.
yep.
And there's a clearing
There's a clearing.
with a UAP
Yes.
just sitting there.
Sitting there
hovering.
rotating clockwise. Yep. And that's in transition, this color spectrum I was telling you too. And that's why it's something that stuck out. It's not a building, you know, it's not something that you're used to seeing. Maybe topside, it could have looked like a building or something that, you know, I don't know. I don't have that perspective. I wasn't a pilot or anything, but I can tell you from our point of view, it's something that it looked very unnatural and abnormal. And that's what got our curiosity to go investigate this. Now, normally, because we would have had comms, you're damn right, we'd have called it in. Report something suspicious. Maybe get some eyes on a helo, get a hold of their call signs and try to do them fly around, and they never did. And obviously, we didn't have comms to do it, but they were more occupied with what was going on behind us. So when we trucked down and got around 150 to 200 meters from it, you know, and this is an opening. By the way, there's no tactical advantage being in this situation, because you don't have cover. It's jungle. You have concealment, but this kind of concealment with vegetation is not bulletproof.
Mm-hmm.
So when we trekked up close, and we were attack column, so obviously you have points here, right, each Marine. So you have visuals of the sides. Somebody has point and somebody has the rear. And all of a sudden we're enveloped by this military force I still to this day don't know who they are. And
How
that's
close did you get
to the craft?
to the craft?
Roughly 200 meters, 150, 200.
Did you get to the bottom of the hill?
Yes.
So you could see, so you saw the top of it, and then you could see underneath of it.
And underneath of it had this platform that was on the ground that was separate from this craft hovering. And it was very weird to see. And I was like, okay, I don't know if that's kind of like a cement pad or something. I don't know if it was like a helo pad or anything like that at first, but then started seeing how the material would kind of look very similar to what the craft was. It's like, well, that's separate. So you have something that's on the ground stationary, and then you have something that's up top and it's just rotating in a clockwise position. So right when we got close to it, at least, 150, 200 meters out, then all of a sudden we were engaged, at least not in a hostile manner, at least, not gunfire or firefight or anything like that. But the way that these guys moved was so fluid, it was so still, it was very, very, very smooth. And it kind of indicated to me, after thinking about it for several years, is that these guys have done it for a while because of how smooth this operation was. Mm-hmm. So when we were in a tactical column going towards the center of this thing, they actually came from the flanks, but it was more of a diagonal, like a corner of the room, so to speak, right? For them, at a tactical advantage, they have interlocking fields of fire on every single person, and they had a team of 8, right? And the gear that they had was black OTV vests. They had black camouflage utilities.
What you're saying is there would have been no they were professionals.
Yes,
there would have been no Mexican standoff where if they fired, they're shooting into their other squad. They had perfect angles.
Yes, they did.
To where both sides could engage you.
Yes. Team of 4. So it was like a fire team element.
Without worrying about a blue on blue situation.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, with that being said, because as they approached us, you'll hear the safeties flip off. Now, your attention to detail, when you're seeing this kind of stuff, your sensors are very heightened, so you can pick up. I know you've been a combat veteran, you know all about that. Your heightened sense of awareness is going through astronomical changes.
Hypervigilant.
Yes. So you can hear stuff a lot clearer. And that's when you kind of picked up the hum that this object was doing, along with these guys flipping their safeties off, especially M4s. It's very distinct sound. Anybody in this room who's held M4s and has shot them, M16s, things like that, it's very distinct sound to flipping it off. So we kind of knew, and they started yelling at us. They were like, you're not supposed to fucking be here. What the fuck are you guys doing here? Who the fuck are you with? So they knew they were using the kind of lingo that we were using too, especially in the military. So it made me think that at some point, these guys actually were uniformed military at one point.
Any accents?
Not accents. It's just like American dialects, how you and I were talking. At one point, they said they were going to smoke us. They could throw us out of a helicopter. It's very easy to get lost in the jungle out here. They kept saying stuff like that. So after they enveloped us, they all pretty much got in line. They told us to put our weapons. So we all got in line as well. And we had our hands up. We had our weapons slung. And, they're having 2 guys watch while there's a guy basically taking our magazines out of our vest. And they're throwing them on the deck and they're kicking them away so we don't have time to react. They also, at the same time, the first thing they did was obviously take our weapon and clear it. But they took the magazine out and they actually held it in a way to where they could pull a charging handle and collect the round and have it not hit the deck. So the way that these guys operated was very smooth. It's very calculated, very precise. You could tell they've done this a lot, or they've rehearsed it a lot. Especially combat operations, you're doing terrain model rehearsals, you're doing rehearsals, whether you're clearing rooms, trying to figure all that kind of stuff out. These guys kind of did the same thing, I'm assuming, because of how smooth it was. And because as well as I do, you have new guys that join a unit and they're not that fresh. They're very choppy because they have the basic understanding of either how to stack up and do room clearing. And the guys that have done it and been through combat deployments and all that, they're very kind of methodical, very smooth because they know what to expect. These new guys, it's not the same thing. You could tell these guys were seasoned. So as they did that, they actually, each Marine had 2 guys on them, plus one that was taking the stuff off of them. They actually knew where our military IDs were because in Marine Corps order, you have to have them in your left breast pocket.
So there were 15 of these guys, 3 on each Marine.
No. So they had other guys right here, and they had 3 that were just going through each Marine,
okay,
while other people were holding each Marine at gunpoint. And they're not like super close to us range wise with, because if you get a muzzle close, it's easy to grab it and, kind of fend off, especially with a rifle. But these guys were off at a standoff distance that even if you try to move, they could smoke you.
One search team of 3 guys.
Yes.
And then the rest of the squad was aimed in on you. Okay.
Yeah. So, and again, they're not anywhere where they could actually, there was people behind us because obviously if they had to engage, they're going to hit one of their own guys probably. So it's more like they were kind of moving the same way through all of us, all 6 of us, taking our stuff, taking pictures of our military IDs, So they had like these devices that kind of look like a very thin, it looked like a smartphone modern day right now, because in 2009, it wasn't the case. I think the most high-tech thing they had at that time were maybe Blackberries, but they're bulky at that point with the ball. And then they had their flip phone razors and things like that. But these look like something you'd see today. And they were taking pictures of military IDs, and they had some other device that was like remind me of a BAT system. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Describe it.
It's like a biometrics tracking system. So what it does is when you come across with an insurgent, you can take pictures of their face, their retinas, fingerprints, something like that. But they were trying to scan their IDs with this thing, and it wasn't working. So they're kind of getting frustrated with it. So as this is going on,
did they collect biometrics from you?
No.
Okay.
No. Which they took pictures of us, but that might be enough. And then they took our IDs, because some people I talked to that are in the special operations community with that, they said, yeah, we have the ability to scan IDs, and it tells us everything about you. Military IDs, driver license, things like that. So it's very high speed stuff. And considering this was in 2009 compared to now, of course, they had this thing that they were using to load up stuff. It's very advanced physics, something hovering off the ground, not making any sound, but an audible hum, like a guitar amp or something that's like a transformer.
So it wasn't like, it didn't sound like a jet.
No.
It didn't sound like a helicopter.
Hell no.
There was no engine noise.
Nope.
Just a hum.
Just an audible hum. It's very creepy to see because it's not normal.
Was it like a bassy hum?
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Like a guitar. Like if you were to unplug it, it wasn't the same pitch, but it was like the same kind of sound, same kind of noise that it emitted. And so as they're searching us, we're watching this thing happen. And that's when we started seeing trucks come from our left and go onto this platform. And they were up armored 350s. I know exactly what 350s are. They were kind of beefier trucks. They were matte black. When they were coming at us, and they go left. And I was glancing between what was going on in front of us with these guys, and then all of a sudden glancing over to what was going on behind them. And that's when I started seeing the key details of this thing. Like it had like a scale pattern on it, kind of like an octagonal, because the craft itself was like an octagonal shape where you could see points. Had a pyramid structure on top that was black, and you can see the shadowing of it as it rotated. But it was rotating very slow. And then it had like these vents on every single corner on the middle part of these the panels anyway. There was like a Vanta black. It was like a dark black that would like absorb light. Very weird.
What do you mean by that? A dark black that would absorb light?
So if you're ever familiar with the BMW, they painted Vanta black. It was like a very super dark black. It's not like a reflective material at all.
The matte black?
Yeah, but very, 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 even darker than matte black.
Okay.
Like you can shine a light at it and it won't even illuminate.
Like the Batmobile?
Kind of. Okay. Something like that. But even, it was like very dark. The only way I can describe it was like that Vanta black.
Okay.
And
when you mean absorb light, you're saying if I shine a laser on it, you might not even see the laser. Correct. Or it would be very dull.
Correct.
Okay.
Something like that. So we're watching these vehicles, right? These trucks. Now, the thing I would say on the front of them, because Humvees, the military has, they have the IR lights on the front near the headlights that you can drive at nighttime with your knots. So they had the same thing because they had the same kind of slits that had the IR lights. But they had weapon cases in the back of each truck bed. And, you could store like a couple hundred weapons, maybe 100 weapons, maybe a platoon, a company size element. And it was the same Pelican cases that we would use to store stuff when they were transloading, so very big cases on 2 of them in each truck bed. And then they had a shipping container thing. It looked like a shipping container, but smaller and half the size. And the thing that was different about this is I had a cylinder on the front of it that was towards the truck. It was like parallel to the ground, just a cylinder right on the top of this thing. And for years I thought, okay, like there's got to be oxygen supply or like a vacuum sealing thing that you would, because obviously I'm thinking it's drugs. I was like, okay, so it's a very advanced way to do that. Just years of thinking of this. And come to find out, when I gave my speech in DC on that Saturday for the Disclosure Project with Dr. Greer, he's got a lot of people coming out of the woodwork, by the way. And this gentleman, I'm not going to give any detail. I know a little bit about him, but he works in some of these projects at some very controversial facilities. He's aware of what was going on. After I gave my presentation of this, he confirmed, he says, no, he's like, I don't want to leave Michael hanging out there, but I was not expecting to come and talk to you about this. And he went explaining what the operations do, why they do it, and what they were using them for. And he says, it's not drugs that they're putting in these shipping containers. He says it's humans.
Human trafficking.
Yes. His own words. And, of course, And he also wants to come forward, at least with him and 30 other people that are involved with that part of the work. But it was very disheartening to actually get that information relayed to me, because here I'm thinking for years it's drugs and it's a much sinister thing. But it makes sense because they use natural disasters that people are going to be missing anyway.
Yep.
Scoop up people.
I mean, I've been covering human trafficking this year.
Right.
And that's, a lot of the human trafficking comes from third world countries in distress. You're in a third world area.
Yep.
In distress right after an earthquake would be, it's prime.
Yeah.
Prime time to do a human trafficking operation.
Right.
How big were the containers?
I would say probably 8 feet and 10 feet, 8 feet tall, 10 feet within.
So like maybe half a Connex box?
Yeah, about that.
Okay.
And they were kind of like on the trailer that was underneath was kind of like a regular Humvee trailer that you would see kind of pull stuff, something like that.
How were they being lifted into the craft?
So they were driving onto this platform that was angled, so it hit and it just raised up and they're just driving on this ramp.
Oh, the truck would go up?
Yeah, but the whole thing was a ramp.
Okay.
Like a circular ramp. And I mean, obviously I can't see what's on the other side of it, but I'm assuming because it's a circular pattern that it's going to be the same on the other side, because they would drive onto this platform. And at that point I saw all the doors open, 4 guys would come out. And then I'd go back to what we're facing here with these guys searching our stuff, asking us questions, taking our IDs, trying to intimidate the crap out of us. And so I can see the guys come out of the truck. And that was making me think too, like at a tactical advantage, we didn't have that. There's only 6 of us, basically trained infantry Marines. And there's these guys here that are, doing this operation and very skilled, very methodical, very calculated, very precise. And if there's 8 of them, and then all of a sudden every single truck has 4 of these guys, I know that it's not just these guys that are running the perimeter. They could have been 40 or 30 or 40 people.
Yeah.
Could have been a platoon size element. And the fact that we have no concealment, we barely have any concealment, because if we were to run and bank off the sides here to go to our flanks, they could just engage us. There's nothing to hide behind.
Yeah.
Vegetation ain't going to stop bullets, but so there's a lot of questions I have too, because it's, obviously if we would have engaged them, then the whole rest of the force behind us would know about it because they'd heard the commotion.
Yeah. How many containers do you estimate were put into the craft?
4, because I saw 4 trucks.
4 containers.
Yeah. And there could have been more, but at that point where we saw, we could have, because we stumbled onto this thing. We ruined their operation, so to speak, because we weren't allowed to see that.
Let's talk about the craft.
Okay.
How big was it?
300 feet is what I'm estimating, about a football field. And the reason why I say this is because we flew on CH-53 Super Stallions. I'm sure you're familiar with those. Your time as a SEAL. They're roughly 100 feet. All right. So from nose to tail, if you lined up 3 of them, it'd fit 3 of them under this craft, because I can see, especially the operation behind us, you kind of see them off in the distance. So you try to gauge, as a Marine, you're always trying to judge distance, you know what I mean? Because if you're having to engage, but lo and behold, we end up having a surprise right here happen with these guys. But that's how I know it was around 300 feet.
Okay. And it was circular.
Circular. It's like an octagon because it had like corners on it. That was like an octagon shape, but still circular.
Could you see, was it one smooth piece of metal?
No.
Was it panels?
Panels. Yep.
Just describe more. Were there windows?
There were not windows, nothing I could see like that. It just had that Vanta black vent looking things on each corner is all I saw with that. And it had like a octagonal scale pattern that went through it. It honestly reminded me kind of like a design for an F-22 Raptor.
Okay.
I like the top of it kind of looks like that.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminded me of because it would transition those colors. So I suspect, I've had people I've talked to about this to say, well, Lockheed Martin has reverse engineer stuff that's circular. Raytheon, they have triangular craft. And they said it might have been Lockheed because Lockheed also made the F-22.
Interesting.
Similar design concept. Now that I think about it, right? Because at this time, you're not really thinking about it. You're like, I'm more concerned with these guys and who the hell they are. So after we witnessed the last truck going on there, and we're still dealing with that. I got searched already, of course, and I'm just paying attention to what's going on. I'm making sure my guys are good too. And all of a sudden, the trucks, we never saw them again. They were not on that platform. There was like boxes and stuff that were on that platform. And so I'm assuming they either drove off on the other side or disappeared or where they went. I don't know. But all of a sudden, we noticed that this platform raises off the ground by itself. It doesn't make any noise, by the way. It doesn't disturb anything.
Before it started gaining elevation,
yeah.
How high off the ground was this?
The actual craft?
Yes.
I would say probably 20 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, good distance. And the platform rose up, but I would say like the platform was up several feet, right? Probably maybe 5-6 feet, because it was from the distance probably about half an inch.
I mean, I'm envisioning the way you're describing this. I'm envisioning an octagon.
Yep.
Rotating clockwise with a drop ramp similar to maybe something you would see on the back of a C-130, C-17, but circular.
But circular and separate. There's no cables. There's no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was the ramp attached to the craft?
No.
So there was just an opening.
There was just an opening. Like the bottom part of the craft, was what I'm assuming, because that's where I saw it lift up and go into. It was like the bottom part. It was like the floor itself was like the platform, and they were just rolled up, right? But at the same time, the top part leveled a little bit and went down to meet with this. And as that happened, you start to see it rise up past the tree line. And it's not like a super fast and just rapid. It's just like kind of slow. As that's going on, the rotation has not changed. The audible hum has not changed. But
it's not like somebody hit the gas and you hear a different.
Yeah, it's nothing like
noise.
that.
It's
just constant.
Okay.
Each point on that octagonal shape started to illuminate colors. Like, and it was just one color per point. It was red, it was green, it was yellow, and it was blue. It was the only colors I saw, and it was rotating, right? As soon as it got to the top of the tree line, like cleared the trees, this thing shot off to the left. And to the left was the ocean, by the way. It was just going west.
How far to the left was the ocean?
Probably a good 1.5 miles, maybe.
That's it?
Yeah.
So you're right on the coastline.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably, I would say it could be 1.5 miles to 3 miles, I'd estimate, because I mean, that's just estimation. I don't really know, because it took us a little bit when we landed into the near Padang City, because we landed at the airstrip, and then we took like a several minute flight going from southwest to like northeast part, roughly. So I'd say probably a couple miles to kind of estimate. And like I said, it didn't change pitches of noise or anything, and it just completely shot off. I mean, it's just like a blur that went left. Didn't make a sonic boom like you'd see a fighter jet when you see the pressure, the way that happens. It didn't disturb any of the trees like what rotor wash would do on a helo or a jet flying the map of the earth and leaving exhaust and blowing you kind of see Top Gun movies when it cranks up on that. Nothing.
Listen, that happened in 2009. All right. And what's incredible about his story is he didn't see a single alien being. He didn't see a single extraterrestrial or interdimensional being. It was all human beings. And again, he suspects that this involves human trafficking. Right off the coast, close to the water. We know that UFOs are known to go in and out of water like it's nothing. For some reason, they like the ocean, maybe because it's out there and it's a little bit safer, right, than being around people and land and all that good stuff. Hey, real life is not in cyberspace. This particular interview, give me a second and I will tell you. It was just a few months ago, actually. Give me a second. I'll tell you exactly when it was. It was 8 months ago. 8 months. Now, I do plan on doing a show fully on Michael Herrera and some additional clips that I do have of him discussing this story that happened in 2009. Now, understand, he was, hey, what's up, Roasted Toast? All right, I'll check it out. He was this happened in Indonesia. He was an active Marine at the time. He was doing a military operation. All right. These guys that he ran into obviously were privately contracted of some kind. Surely, I bet they're making a lot of money. But you heard what he said. They talked with an American dialect. It went on and on and on and on. He talks about how this platform literally raised up to the craft with not a single cable, wire, or anything connected to it. It is very advanced technology / science / physics to be able to do that. Something that we, the public, just don't understand. We just don't understand. I've seen some, incredible things in my life, but his story, and especially with who the story's coming from. When we've got people of his caliber speaking to these sorts of stories, we must take note. Listen, all these people are not lying, guys. They're not all lying to us. All right. This stuff is real. We are not alone. We are absolutely not alone, whether you want to believe it or not. There are things that we just don't understand, things that we can't even see with our eye. Okay. Now, per Dr. Bombay, he wants to see this one more time. I went ahead and slowed this down, by the way, to a 0.25, but I'm going to keep it muted just so that we can kind of go frame by frame and look at these two ethereal beings that are about approximately 12 feet tall. We can see them moving. Whether it looks like they have wings of some kind, but they've got appendages coming out similar to arms. And there's something in their hands, if that's what they're called for their bodies. We would call them hands. There's something in each hand, and they are glowing. It is glowing. And as this man gets closer, I don't know if that was like, you see, look, they're outstretching their hands right now. You can see it. There's something glowing in their hands. And in each hand. And I don't know if it looks like wings or it's a special robe hanging down on each arm at the exact same place, okay? But they look cloaked. They look very much so cloaked. And watching this in a 0.25 is very interesting. Cloaking is the ability to make one's self invisible. And there's technologies out there, guys. We've seen some things reach the public recently where people are making blankets that you put it in front of you, it's reflecting what's behind it. And thus cloaking one, making one invisible. You can't even tell someone's, behind that blanket. I've heard of people even taking, certain types of chemicals out here. I'm going to kind of liken it to plastic, but it's not plastic, okay? But using that and creating mechanisms to cloak oneself. But you can clearly see these beings are moving. They're raising up those arms, all right, like crazy. And it is quite incredible. So listen, guys, I think I've probably bored y'all long enough. I appreciate each and every one of you for coming through, all of you for coming and engaging in on this very interesting conversation. I always appreciate it, and I feel like the more that I can get it out there, all right, the better. At least to the people in my community, and we will continue to build this community, the LeakYou community. We will continue to grow larger. I ask that you all do please hit that like button, or shall I? Wait, it's been a long time since I did this. Let me just do this one time.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
Yes, I would appreciate it if each of you would click that like for me. Before we go out, though, as I said, I do want to take a look at this clip just one more time because it's so interesting, guys. This is that clip I was telling you all about. All right, where we've got Marines performing joint maneuvers with reverse engineered craft. All right.
Right? And then
Our government is not being honest with us, people. They're dishonest. They lie. Believe
Yeah, they
nothing.
got 90. Talk on east 1400 egress right pulls. Current threat to aircraft CSU 23 Tech 4. Have an enemy mechanized company in the vicinity of the airfield on the southern portion of the airfield with potential reinforcements.
Watch one fly by, and he's going to look right at it. That's the copter. Watch this. Look. Looks right at it. See that go by really fast? A lot going on. There's a lot going on in that film, let me tell you. There's a lot going on. But guys, we have reverse engineered some of these craft, believe that. And unfortunately, our government just isn't honest. I hope that another government will show them up. There's a lot of activity that goes on down in South America, Mexico, a variety of different countries in South America. I hope one of their governments will come out and talk about what they know. Okay. So anyway, guys, again, shout out to all of you for coming through and listening in and engaging on this video. Before I get up out of here, allow me to pay a few bills if you don't mind. Shout out to the LeakYou community. Please join us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music.
Please hit the like. Thank you.
All right. And as I stated, at the beginning of the broadcast, if you get an opportunity, definitely check out my official podcast at anchor.fm/LeakYou, where you can find me on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Again, I do put content in there and on my official podcast that you will not find here on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, et cetera, where I stream to these other locations. But listen, man, I do appreciate y'all, as I've said before. Shout out to those of you on X, was formerly known as Twitter. It is pretty common now at this point that I get just the same, if not more, viewership on X than I do on the YouTube platform. The Facebook numbers have been driving up as well. So I do appreciate that. I've been, trying to bring attention to these topics for a long time, and I'm glad to see that my efforts are definitely starting to pay off. All right, guys. Hey, enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and I'll be back here tomorrow about this same time. So make sure you keep your notification bells on, guys. Until next time.
judgment sentence that you are an asshole. The trial is over. Thank you, everybody.
Let's play a game. You have 10 seconds to take all your stuff and get out of my life. 10, 9, 8.
God bless you, motherfucker.
You're really smart. Like really, really, really smart like I am.